Welcome to Age of Empires 4. We are in the Conqueror League at the start of Season 11, checking out a little team game here. We have, on the north of the map, the first team. We have a Japanese player here in orange. I know what that color is. It's orange. And Ma playing the English just above them. And on the other side, we have, in green, the French and the Ayubid. So, I said this was Conqueror League. These players were Conqueror last season. They're not all up there yet. It's early. People are ranking up, but I think we should expect a pretty good game here. So, a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, the Ayubid can be incredibly flexible, and they can produce and have several ways of producing those really powerful team game units. As they get housed here, you need to rush up that house. Those Desert Raiders that have both melee and ranged attack, incredibly powerful units, affordable units to make. French, well, we know what to expect out of them. Expect to see knights. It's Lippany. It's not a great trade map, and you can see in particular here, this is a bad spawn for it. I mean, the trade is right in the middle here. So unless you fence something off that you can get your whole team behind, trade ain't really going to be it. So the question is, do the Ayubid go in for aggression, or do they try to do some sort of economic expansion? Do they try to go into the economic wing for industry, the economic industry wing? Do they get the extra units? Or do they go for the reinforcement right out of the bat? On the other side of the map, what do we want to expect out of the Japanese here? Well, we can expect them to go into the core storehouse. Very rarely we would see the shinobi out on a non-hybrid map. They have the ability to go into a mix of samurai and archers. Could do well against the Desert Raiders. Samurai to tank up that damage, archers to pick them apart. And the English, well, it's going to be a question. Do we see them go for the Abbey of Kings? Get that knight out, try to put some pressure. And that is what it's going to be. The Abbey of Kings coming straight up here. Villagers are chopping away. Scout checking it out. It's going to get away. No dead scout right here. Alright, Ayubid friend. Moving a lot of villagers over to wood, and the age up coming through, it's going to be the economic wing growth. So going to get those 3 villagers, archers, get additional 50 food. You're missing out on 100 food here, unfortunately, because they already ate through, so it's a detail. You might want to drop off those sheep there, buddy. It's a detail, and it's tricky that you want to avoid exhausting your berry bushes before you get this age up, because you don't get that extra food. That food is gone. So you're not going to get the full bang out of this, but it's 100 food. Those 3 extra villagers will more than make up for it. And now Ayubid, haha, they did not forget to drop it off. Good coordination here. They're bringing their sheep over to their very hungry French players. See those villagers just tie them up. So I like this dynamic. The French need a lot of food to pump out that cavalry. And here you're securing, I mean, what a huge amount of sheep here. How many do we even got here? 23 sheep plus a few carcasses. Checking over on our Japanese friend. Core storehouse coming up laterally. It'll be sandwiched between the town center and this tower on the stone, though I don't like this placement. You're going to be blocking part of your free farms here. I'm going to put your forge around the corner if you can. Small details, small details. That knight's going to come out. We'll see if they queue it up for any specific destination right out of the get. Ayubid, age up is through. Villagers rallied onto that food. And now we see the stable coming out. Something else that's really great about the Ayubid is you can get the Desert Raider out of archers, or excuse me, out of the archery range or the stable. And what's really great about that option is a second stable comes down right out of the gate here. I don't know if they have the economy to really sustain that, but we'll see. But what's great about this is then you can transfer into the Camel Lancers that are a lot more difficult to deal with. A scout here trying to distract some villagers getting in on it. No unit production buildings out here for the Japanese yet. A second town center coming up for the English. On this forward goal, now this knight's going to spot it out. No king yet. First hit on the first villager. Goes. Villager needs to be pulled away. He's going to go down. No. 1 health. And now the king is here. So no villager deaths. King out, going to protect that second TC. Now do we see a response from the French? Do they pivot to stone? We don't see it. We do see them getting their blacksmith because they missed out on a death there by not getting their free +1 upgrade that they are supposed to get. Desert Raider out here picking away at the scout. The scout's gonna try to flee, going straight home as the knights now turn to the Japanese. That tower won't get up. A second knight is here. So Japan wanting to get a fast castle, probably wanting to get the floating gate, get the landmark, producing the Yorishiro, getting it out there. Really feels like a little, a naked fast castle might be a little rough here. Nothing's here to help. English knight looking for damage, gonna try to attack the Ayubid. And the scout's gonna sacrifice itself. Tower, they're gonna try to get what they can. I'm not sure where they lost. You know, that was a lot of work getting up this tower. What do you know, 5 villagers is enough. This will hold it. I want to cancel that before it goes down. Now the knight, the king, trying to find some damage of its own. Outpost getting its emplacement. Farm, not being satisfied yet. Now rushing a bunch of other vills over. Yeah, this is not going to work. You know, when you're macroing like this, they have the resources now, and more villagers are going to go down to the back if they don't get away. They finally do, but now you have 2v1 back here. And for the cost of a stable, or really a barracks, for the cost of a barracks, they could have gotten off this pressure from the French knights. They're over macroed for food. Now 2 blank farms, and I really want to encourage this, and I'm surprised, at this higher level, you'd like to see this not happen, but to transfer people over before your food runs out. There's no reason these farms should ever be left vacant. Yes, you're collecting sheep. Yes, the sheep collect fast, but that is not infinite food, so you're losing out on the total gross food that you could possibly get. Camel. I keep want to call them camel archers, but they're not. They are the Desert Raiders. Japan now able to age up. And it's going to come right behind the town center. Switching around to the Ayubid perspective, they don't know it's up. They could be working to deny this if they so choose. Now 3 farms being unharvested. Only 3 workers on food, 13 on gold. Not sure what this macro's about. Outpost spots out and shoos away the aggressors. Now damage happening. The Ayubids focus on their own attack. Missed out on opportunity there. Not enough room. Too many people. Can't get in the tower. And the king is going to peel away. France responding now with their own second town center. Responds to the English who got theirs up. So that's good. You're going to want to be able to scale. You want to keep up. We see a lot of French players who are not able to do so. And this means that, with the economic force of this, maybe they don't need to go into Guildhall. Maybe they're able to then just go into the Royal Institute, get those upgrades nice and early. Japan. Almost up now. Barracks and a range. Yoroshiro's going to go into the forge? Into the forge. So not going for the quick production. Going instead for the regular production, getting that permanent gold. Not a bad call. King getting chased away. Unable to deny the second town center. Desert Raider numbers growing. And age up here, we have reinforcements. So going to be getting 3 Desert Raiders immediately, and then every 2 minutes for the rest of the game. So these numbers are going to grow promptly. Good wall back here if they can finish getting it up. A little greedy not to get more villagers on this. Going for archers, getting the veteran upgrade. Going for spearmen, who, unfortunately, the spearmen are going to have a hard time against the raiders. And because of that military wing upgrade, now the cavalry, in sight of the tower, mind you, but the cavalry is able to build rams. Not a large number of rams here, or of camel riders. Desert Raiders. I'll get it straight, don't worry. You know, sometimes you see something, you think it, and you don't say it the way you intend to. So this is going to be able to get them off of the gold here pretty quickly. There is a back gold, and now the 2 versus 1 coming through here. When people start screaming into the chat, they're absolutely going to lose this forward position. And some production coming in for England, but England's going to have to come to the aid here very quickly. Production building's not being fully utilized. The macro's not there to support this. First relic will come in. And a large force here. Very little to defend this with. Shinto priest getting out of there. Wololo coming through. They're going to try to block it. They switched to the range, though. They were able to get in there. Kill the priest. And pretty quickly here, no response. Some crossbows a little bit coming through here. The king racing across the map to try to help defend their teammate. But right now, this is a full court press against the Japanese. Japanese economy completely shut down. You have some food in the back. But the losses are mounting. Villagers are getting picked off. And not a clear road here. Too little production. And that's tough, you know. I think it comes down to scouting. Not seeing the number of cavalry that could be produced out of all those stables. Did they ever scout it? I'm not sure they really ever scouted the amount of production. So both English and Japan going for a pretty fast, pretty naked castle. And not going to work. Not going to work against the kind of aggression that can come out. Villagers trying to work down to a population of 36. Now the cleanup crew coming. 35 population now. Spears are going to come try to handle the raider. And these villagers got to go. It's the last of the economy. You have to be a lot more careful. There's a few more back here. 2 spears are going to chase them away. A rogue camel lancer out. And this is where England's got to really step up here. English have the economy. They need to sling resources. They are having a great time here. They need to sling resources. They need to make sure that they have a mass that can push back. They need to make sure their friend can recover. You can sling them stone, try to get another town center to try to catch up as the Japanese. There's a number of tactics here. Again, empty farms. No scout out. Not at least in this neighborhood. English scout is checking the mid of the base. And now we're seeing a good steady stream of units coming through here. A couple of knights, a handful of knights, going to try to attack the second town center. The villagers should be able to pop in. They get away indeed. And now into the maul of the 2 town centers and the White Tower. It's going to shove away that raid. Camel Lancers, the Desert Raiders coming through here, trying and really just not paying attention to their army. Now, it's not a mobile army for the English. They're not able to chase them, though they are sitting still and they identify this. Knights now back in the base. that relic will just simply not be housed. And pushing away the enemy attack now. It's coming through. The hold is holding. Camel Lancers. Weak Camel Lancers. A weak Desert Raider out there. Knights dancing around to heal. Dervish out. Not going to find a relic there. We'll find a relic there. More combat. But a big force here by the English now. They have the economy now to push through. The question is really here, is there enough time for Japan to get back online? The French scaling well. Ooh. Well. Everyone makes mistakes. We'll come back and check on them in a little bit. Ayuba trying to work around, trying to find a soft spot to enter. Japan still not able to get the economic recovery. The town center in the back is going to put them in a good position, though. Going to give them the extra juice they need. You'd love to see it, unfortunately. You know, maybe on this gold, this woodline, this deer patch, protecting novel resources that you could use throughout the game. But at this point, they're going to have to play it safe. That's the call they're making. Villagers got rallied to various places eventually. So Royal Institute was indeed the call. A keep up in the front of the French base. So going to try to hold on to that front line. Now, the English have picked up that it's time to defend. They don't know exactly where the attack is coming from, and it goes right past them. They respond, they see it, and there's plenty back in the base here to help pincer them in here. Gonna try to run them around. The camels out here looking pretty weak. And they're identified now by the Japanese. Gonna try to clean that out. French Knights are gonna try to pounce on those villagers. They get the runaround. They're going to escape for now, and now they're trapped. France, for their part, rebuilding a mass, but France never really scaled up their production. They had the economic work happening, but they never got their production really up online. They're going to get the bonuses. Archery range is coming through, so starting to finally diversify. Japan getting aggressed. And I love going into the Onimusha. It's tough when they're being debuffed as well by the camels, but they're going to be able to do some good damage against the Camel Lancers, much like they would against Knights. So Spear, Onimusha, good combo, strong combo. Knights running around. King goes down, more where that came from. And I have to say, I wouldn't mind seeing a little more cavalry coming out from the English. They don't need a stable, they can produce it right out of their White Tower. But at this point, you're going to keep getting these run-bys, and the amount of attention it takes to chase through with this infantry. I mean, you've just moved, how many units have they moved here? 41 units on the prowl looking for these 5 knights. Big walls coming in here for the English and the Japanese. And we're seeing the window. This is why you don't GG. You get 2v1. You ever have that? You play with randoms. Somebody gets 2v1 or 3v1 and they're like, no one's helping me. I quit. No, you stay in it, because if your teammate can roll, they can help you a lot. And English didn't overboom. They got their second town center. They got their farms. They knew they were protected. Nailing that dervish. So they didn't overboom, they did just what they needed to do. The production came through. It was almost too little too late, but it happened in the end. Villagers going to get kicked off trying to finish this wall. More villagers will have to be pulled, but the threat goes for now. Imperial Age reached for the Ayyubids. Let's check in and see what they went with, as they have a second town center. Excuse me. Oh no, it was the French, excuse me. I was like, wait a sec, what am I looking at? So a white tower defending this big gold right at the gates of the English. It's a, I don't think the Siege Workshop doesn't get a bonus, right? Yeah, archery and stable only, my friend. No bonus for the Siege Workshop being here. So, again, not the best base building you'll ever see. Now a big Ayyubid mass building, the crossbow mass, 28. 14 camel lancers. English, not quite ready. Or excuse me, the Japanese. The English are out here confronted with this huge presence. And Japan needs to be pumping. They need to be pumping. They have resources to produce more units, and they have stopped. I don't know if they think they need to go castle, but here's the thing. No scout. There is no scout. Now, the French have joined. Presumably, the Ayyubids are behind them, and they are. Still seeing the Japanese as the weaker link here. These villagers have to pull it off the gold. One goes down. English gonna have to pull. They do. Spears just where you want them to be. Gonna hold this line. The crossbows are gonna absolutely work through this infantry mass of the Japanese once they get through here, as they have. They're moving too slow. This is where the cavalry, the lack of mobility, not sure where those guys are going. The lack of mobility really kept England from supporting their teammate, and the French and the Ayyubid players can go wherever they want, whenever they want. Poor Japan, still back down to 56 total population here, only 2 military out here. No production out of the Japanese, no food in the bank for the Japanese. Crossbow's going to be able to deal with some of this, but they're going to be overrun with the Ayyubid crossbows. Ayyubids run to the back. They're not going to find a lot of action back here. They're going to take a lot of arrow fire from the survivors of the Japanese mass. Castle of the Crow coming back. So, you know, that's 2,400 food. That's a lot of units they didn't go for. They angled for the Imperial Age. They didn't scout out their opponent. They didn't see what threat they were posing. And they kept with that plan to stay with Imperial. Now going to drop a house, a farmhouse, consume these deer. They're aware of the Lancers in the back, or at least they should be. Oh, this deer's going to go very quickly. Another big mass coming through here. And I think the missing ingredient, I will have to say, was siege. If you're able to drop a Sultan's Tower or a Manjanique, you're able to do a lot more damage to the infrastructure. France has largely regrouped outside of their White Tower, outside of the English base. Looks like they might stop on the 2v1 approach. Checking in with Ma. As the spears can do some quick work there. Ma out here with 164 population, 163 for the Ayyubid, 147, 150 for the French, and 62 for the Japanese. So, really needing to produce full time. This is where I mentioned earlier too, having a town center back here, being able to be a little bit more central to those resources. And this is going to be a very short caravan. I wonder what the value is. I'd like to keep my eye on that. I'll probably get distracted and fail to. But the Ayyubid force now with 2 Manjaniques, looks like they're going to put some pressure on the English along with the French. Positioning that way. England unawares. And this is where, again, we haven't seen scouting at the back of the base. The English and Japanese team, as we see them get attacked by 2 towers trying to get that gold, 1 tower ain't going to do it. They're consistently unaware of what the enemy is up to and what the enemy is capable of. 2 cannons going to try to fire down on the Berkshire, trying to hold this position. Cannons aren't going to do it. They're too close. They don't have enough range to overcome the Berkshire. But now the Berkshire has other things to worry about. Huge army here, and I don't think the English can hold this. Villagers repairing it, it only costs wood. Ma's wood is depleting rapidly. Now unchecked, the Royal Cannons will be able to polish off this Berkshire if these villagers are peeled off. Japan not being able to offer a lot. They're sending what they can. The Berkshire is not the last line of defense. You need military. That down to 20, and not a lot of production, a lot of idle villagers, a lot going on here. Unable to compete with the cavalry of the southern team to obtain and hold that map control. Playing it a little slow. France bringing in reinforcements. Most of the production buildings are producing, but definitely not all. Manganiques set to the kinetic weapon. Not the incendiaries yet. Not in position to do what they need to do. Japan trying to send resources, made a few more barracks, running over, and again, this very static army of the northern team, not yet able to produce the results to save this game for them. But the Manganiques go down at the cost of all of those infantry just getting absolutely obliterated by that revolving gun. I missed it. I'll have to come back. 74 seconds. Lots of idols. Some production. Not using the white tower, though. Not getting the full benefit. More reinforcements coming in from the Ayyubid side. And the Ayyubids themselves have now reached Imperial. They went for the trade wing, the bazaar. Interesting choice. Going to try to get some novel units out on the field, perhaps. The English hold. The defense that they can produce is obviously a strong one. Japan's got to be rallying these in here. They're not collecting interest. Villagers hungry for action. Japan up to 123 units. Almost 40 military. I missed it. No, I'm about to see it. It's coming out soon. 13 seconds. I want to know how short of a benefit you can get out of that landmark. Stone coming in here looking to perhaps get another keep up, but they need units, and these units got to move forward. Production has stopped for the English. You know, 200 of every resource from the short range. It's completely safe. It gets to you quickly. And it's not lucrative. It's not the 600 or whatever you can get of each resource. But, you know, if you're in a pinch, not a disaster. A few range units being produced here now. Very little, no melee infantry being produced. Boiling oil coming through as the spears and hand cannons of the Japanese tries to handle this mass. Not seeing the coordination you would like. A lot of villagers tucked away here as well. It's hard to feel like this isn't going to be an uphill fight. Japan is back in the game though. Almost at 100 economic units. And just complete unchecked developments, I have to point out, by this other team. The economy has not been hit once. Not really. We saw the knight, or the king out there doing a little bit. but the French knights able to dive right under the TC, not worrying about the White Tower, picking off the villagers where they can, really trying to whittle that number down. Crossbows, some man-at-arms. Close to a cleanup on the Ayubid end. Though another mass is starting to form. More map control, getting these berries, protecting the stone, protecting the sacred site. Really complete map control here by the southern team. And I think at the end, that's going to win the game for them. You can hold, maybe not against 3 of the French cannons. You can hold for a while, but if you don't have the resources, it won't matter. The English army moving forward, the Japanese army staying put. Very little line of sight, very hard to get a range of this. Relics no longer producing. Protecting a side keep, that's an expensive building. I don't know if I like this. You are ultimately, of course, you're trying to get the stone. Stone is so helpful for Japan. You're kind of protecting it. But imagine, you could put that keep here. You're still going to protect the way to those farms. You're getting those deer, you're getting this wood, you're getting that. Feels overly defensive, kind of like the Castle of the Crow. I feel like with the Castle of the Crow, if you're already back here, you're already losing. And you're not getting the benefit of the of the Japanese farms. You need this, you need to be using the one under your fully upgraded Shogunate Castle. 60% increase to farm gathering. You want to use it. They're not right now. This, you're getting none of that benefit. So, suboptimal gameplay, but, you're scrambling. We've all been there, had a rough team game. You get ganged up on. But now the populations are largely even. The Ayubid with a bit of a bigger mass, and the French with definitely a quality check with the cannons they have. Of course, the knights, the Rebaldaquin. Units streaming across the map. I do wonder at this point if the southern team has maybe underestimated how much Japan has gotten back in this game. I mean, it's still absolutely theirs to lose, but Japan's economy is basically where you would now like it to be. Now the Ayubid moving right into the Japanese army. England holding pat, about 50 units. The Onabageisha you could get them on top of the crossbows, they'll do better there. The Rebaldaquins gonna absolutely massacre what was remaining of the Japanese front line as the French knights and hand cannoneers dive right into the English mass. The English mass will be able to hold this. Rebaldaquins coming through. Yeah, that's a tough mass. Ayubid crossbows chasing the hand cannoneers. Nothing to protect these villagers. Now we see these farms. And these, delete this wood camp. Get a few more farms under this influence. Get the most out of your civilization. England trying to hold pat. And this is where, good. Japan has recognized that the Ayubids have turned the fight. They need to get in there. And the northern team remains. They're able to hold. Enclosures are in for the English, getting that gold trickle. Crossbows are going to try to work down spears. It's going to be hard. These Rebaldaquin are going to get in here again and just absolutely rake through. Wow, they just do so much damage. People used to joke about them, and then one day everyone woke up and realized, wait a second, Rebaldaquins are freaking amazing. In the right circumstance. A castle coming down here. I think it's in the line of sight. Yes, it's in the line of sight of the southern team. The cannons could pivot to it, and they're going to not do so. They're still firing on units. I mean, with free roll cannons out, no means to destroy them. They cancel it. They realize that they can't get that up. You could put it back here. You could put it here to protect your main town center. They're going to put it in the back to protect this gold. But the mass is so large now. The 3 French royal cannons. Now, a keep got somehow snuck in here by the English. Well done to do so. It's going to slowly peck away at the French encampment. But right now the French and the U-boats are pushing right into the heart of the English base. Main town center being worked down by the Royal cannons. Japanese mass reassembled. Gonna be able to do some good work here. Onibagesha, word to the wise, great against siege when they can get on top of it. Republicans notwithstanding. But you can get on top of a mangonel or a cannon, a bombard, and they're able to do quite well. But just not able to materialize the mass. A lot of Japanese villagers moving forward. I'm not sure what they're up to. Another keep coming up here where they had originally tried. Villagers not shift-clicked back onto the resources, standing idle. White Tower still not being used for much production. We see it rally to the front here. We see a lot of their production being rallied right to the line of fire. And that's just going to be a waste of resources and production time. The French cavalry getting under the TC, getting picks. Japan almost at full population, actually surpassing the population of the U-boat and the French. So Japan is online. English getting into the teeth though, down to 120 population. Now the U-boats are looking at a very dangerous chop through that. Those rockets are going to keep firing down on them. I'm not sure now the U-boats pick up on it. France largely ignoring, and the U-boats ignoring this keep for now. The cannon's not returning to it. White Tower is down. The English base looking really, really stretched. Japan now trying to get in here. Still no cavalry really out for this northern team. So they're still going to be chasing. And no range to handle these crossbows. Japan has nothing to handle these crossbows. And with the French Revolver-Quins just going to eat through this Japanese mass is just not going to exist. It's completely worked through here. So really just not thinking through the composition as clearly as you would like. And they're getting some work done here. A lot went down for this to happen. French Knights working in the back. We'd love to see a couple Onomusha to chase them around. Japan here with 11 on the front. There's 6 siege units out here. Lots going down here in the back here for France. So, at the cost of a whole keep and a lot of idle time, the English have been able to maintain control of the Skull, and the English base has not completely fallen. They're unaware of exactly how much threat remains. They see the cannon working down the Abbey of Kings. Some production coming up here, being rallied to the back. Now they come forward, barely getting this relic in here. Going to try to get their gold back online. French Knights being chased out of the base of the Japanese, and they're able to hold. France still not able to really remass. You see the production not pushing anything out of their ranges at this time, not producing much more siege, and France is gold starved. We see trade now coming up. Full map trade. We talked about this at the beginning of the game, something they could go for. I mean, they've had the map controlled for days to do this. A French keep coming up. Very forward production up here for the U-bid. Another French keep coming up to hold on to this sacred site. And right now England sees it. A good mass here. These range units, not going to do it. They also have the option of trying to rebuild this Berkshire. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but White Tower's coming up. seeing the danger. And Japan has chopped through here. They need to be very careful. Get this wall back up. Put it across here. You can box it around this, but they've got to get that up. Battle unfolding under the new French keep. The creep. It's a real thing. It can hurt you. Huge armies. The Berkshire, the White Tower. And England able to hold here. The White Tower needs to be, or excuse me, the Red Palace is going to need to be handled. Japan's forces are just running through the hole in the wall. No siege. Now we have a bombard coming out. Berkshire coming up. What a hold. And an amazing amount of fortitude here from our northern team. French Knights, doing big damage back here. Again, Onimusha can do a lot of work to help this out. You gotta re-wall. But right now, the English have taken out the keep with the bombard. The White Tower stands for now. This force is being pushed back. Spear's now able to do the work of cleaning up. Gonna have to chase around the French. France not able to get back at full pop somehow, in spite of all this map control. And this is where the French, you see this a lot with French players, are they able to keep the beats after the initial tempo? Ayyubid Horseman, now the option. Gonna do well against the longbow mass, now that they're on top of it. And for the first time since the very beginning of the game, the northern team is able to push into the production and the resources of the southern team. French Knights trying to get cleaned up. Japan almost at 100 villagers. England really behind here. Really has to remass their economy and just losing more and more. Lots of lost production, loss of the sacred site. The Berkshire is up and running. What would a little cavalry have done for this game? If they had had 3 knights, a few more Onimusha, none of that raiding could have happened. And it's going to be a long road for England to get back online here. They are looking at potentially some trade. Stonewall's coming in. They might go for a relatively short trade, which is better than none. And Japan with eyes on the Ayyubid base. Little wall coming in here. Japan didn't have the stone, England did. And the Ayyubids trying to remass. Pulling it up together. Man-at-arms, Gulams, pardon me, crossbows, camel, not camel lancers, but still desert raiders, coming from that free reinforcements, large infantry mass. Pushing in now. Bombard needs to pull back from the tower, trying to get a flank with the horsemen, not able to find it. England out here to join the battle. And look at this massive fight happening. Really coming through. The archers are picking away. Down to 37 military for the Ayyubid. spears need to come forward. The spears are needed up on the top. They're not where they need to be. Crossbows doing work. French really pumping out units now. Spamming out rams to try to take out this Berkshire. And some lost villagers trying to find something. Japan theoretically aware of those pushing in. Villagers and spears able to take down those rams. More mass coming forward. What a hold here. England's economy still really sorely lacking here. They almost have the resources for a, well, I should say a third town center. They lost one up here. They have another one up here. They need a lot more to get back in this game. But right now they also need military. Lots of it. Japan streaming out across the field, still not producing range units, still not producing cavalry. Not sure why. A few bannermen, katana bannermen trying to deny or at least take advantage of this keep. It's going to get up. They're going to go down. And the pressure remains. Samurai, Ono Bageisha, Elite Spearmen. I feel like they're making what they can afford. But, you know, what would a few archers be doing to this mass of crossbows produced by both players of the southern team? I think it would be pretty helpful. I think it would go a long way, but they're not going for it. Coming through here. Castle doing some big work. We haven't seen a lot of siege coming out from the French. Still struggling with that gold collection, 700 a minute. Coming through from the trade, but it's not where it needs to be. Not if you want to keep pumping out knights at this rate. Not if you want to be pumping out siege, but they are not doing. Except for those rams. They're producing spears. Gulams, crossbows, knights. Only able to do so much with spears against that sort of comp. Now this is not a huge loss for Japan. Obviously it's been helpful. You have more defenses back here, strong defenses. And this is all giving England time to recuperate. And I should say the English, because sometimes I say England. It's a little confusing. You know, use different ways of saying the different sibs. But here we go. The French knights along with some camels pushing into the farms of the Japanese. Still, not as many farms around this as you could have been getting this whole time, taking advantage of that additional economy. Crossbows and knights against the spears and samurai of the Japanese. Hits coming onto this keep. It will go down if it's not left alone. These villagers could be pulled, and they are. England shoves back the Ubid pressure once again. Have they gone for the upgrade? So they haven't gone for the upgrade, the Bernie upgrade, Bruni, where you get 2 additional Yorashiro. So that could be additional gold per minute, not happening. So, you know, a few pieces here where I feel like the Japanese could have made a better use of what they had. We're not using as much of the gold as they could get, not using the full production, not using these ranges. Frankly, a lot more production. It's coming through, and now we see stables. Nothing coming out of them, but we do see Japanese stables. Lots of Japanese farms. A lot of them not in the prime location. Ubid villagers looking for something to do. And the English are just massacring a contingent of French villagers that ran up there. France has plenty of stone. I'm assuming that they were looking to drop a keep right in the middle of the English base here, but that did not work out for them. And this is where, you know, a little bit of cavalry, just doing something on the back. There has been nothing past, really, this section in the center of the map, which is hardly pressing into their base. England feels like they have enough of a mass. A tower is going to try to come up. And boy, they picked up on that pretty quick. France's good line of sight. Following along here. We're on the line of sight now. This is what the French player is seeing. You start seeing those incendiary arrows coming through, and they push forward. Not enough of the mass here. I'm not really sure why England, I mean, obviously England wants that tower up, but you know, daisy chaining. By doing that in the site, by having the fire exchange, the French army was notified and came up. Japan not joining the fray. It could be making a difference here. Huge Alabastria match. We didn't see that earlier. Not in this proportion. I know I referred to them as crossbows earlier, but you all know I meant the French unique ones. The big hold still coming on. Town center is still pumping away here. And now we see stables coming through for the English. I don't know why I clicked on all of those stables and you had to hear the horsey sound every time. Sorry. Still not using the stables that the Japanese have already produced. Ayorishiro is in this house producing food. Maybe not the biggest concern, maybe not what you need your infinite resources on at this point in the game. And now, a sneaky attempt here. Some of the Japanese units here had come down trying to get a tower. And look, we see a little string of towers coming in here. Sorry I missed this before. The Japanese trying to, again, a little distraction. Now look at all these Gulam that are back here. Look at this. Almost 70 army population here instead of up here. That's just what they needed. Maybe it was a little too late, but now you have the full attention of the English and Japanese armies on the French. Siege pulls back. The Yuba force coming forward to try to rejoin the army. And again, it's more time. More time for the northern team to regroup. Ayubids wanting to make plenty of units pop-capped. England, not pop-capped, but their economy, excuse me, that's not England. That's Japan, almost pop-capped, getting in that direction. Ma, getting there, 91 economy. The French, still at 65 population. French get that passive gold. Army continues to battle in the north. England pulling back. Good production, large production numbers coming out. Still nothing coming out of these stables. I don't understand. I don't understand. Because this is a point in the game where you can end up with a lot of free food with your farms. And horsemen are a great way to spend it. Effective against all these ranged units. Effective against the siege that your army has. England trying to get this tower up. Trying to get that network of castles. Network of citadels. They've upgraded. As you would hope they would at this point in the game. Lots of hand cannoneers out for the Ayubid. Ayubid really mastering having a good gold economy. Coming through with 1,500 per minute. A lot better than we're seeing with some others. Well, now France is up there. They have so low because of the production streaming through. Gold-heavy compositions coming out here. Japan trying to hold. 30 army. Gonna have a hard time against this mass coming through here. Not so much the numbers advantage, but the quality advantage. The Gulam going to do very good against the spears. 3 cannons going to work down this keep promptly. One more shot and it's gone. The Yubids in the Japanese base, excuse me, in the English base. Those cavalry are going to go down here, but too late after this, and the Rebaldaquin going to absolutely demolish that line once again. Still no range being produced by Japan. Still no cavalry being produced by Japan. Still no cavalry being produced by the English. The White Tower probably has the highest kill count of this game of any individual unit, but it's getting worked down. Spearmen trying to win the day. And now working through this wood line, Japan's going to have to address this. A huge mass of villagers coming through, but too little too late. A tremendous hold here by the northern team. Really got back into the game, but didn't have the map control, didn't have the resources, and maybe because of that didn't have the composition that they ultimately needed to overcome. What a game, though. Absolute slugfest. Villager count got really low. They really struggled to get it back up. Military count, and you can see the Ayyubid were able to keep it high, even when the French couldn't, with their expensive units. Ayyubid were able to really sustain the mass that kept them on top that game. You know, I know score is not the greatest metric, but I am interested in the fact that you can see here different points. I mean, obviously Japan in orange was really low a good chunk of the time. Half the game was played with everyone in Imperial. But, you know, there's definitely moments here where England was able to get on top. They were able to hold, but corresponding with the military count, and they were just never able to get up there, get into the high numbers, or at least sustain them. Great game, though. Lots of deaths. 1,200 plus units killed by the French. Ayyubid were a little bit more balanced, but it was their mass that was able to really keep them in the game. Great game all around. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you in the next one.